Welcome to Story Time, where dreams take shape and voices long forgotten find their way back into the night. Tonight, we bring you The Whispering Walls, a tale of strength and freedom, a story of quiet resistance and unyielding courage, where whispers turn into echoes that refuse to be silenced. The house stood at the edge of the valley, a grand yet somber place with tall windows that never truly let the light in. Eleanor had not chosen it. It had been chosen for her, by her husband, by the world that believed they knew what was best for a woman who thought too much, who spoke too often. The walls of her bedroom were covered in an intricate pattern, a faded gold filigree against a backdrop of muted cream. At first, she barely noticed it. She had other concerns. Her husband, Henry, insisted she needed rest, that her thoughts had grown too wild, that silence and solitude were the cure for the fire inside her. He spoke to her the way one speaks to a child, with gentle reprimands wrapped in false kindness. "You mustn't overexert yourself, my love. You think too much. You feel too much." She had learned not to argue. Words were wasted on ears that chose not to listen. Days passed in quiet repetition. Henry left for work in the city each morning, locking the grand door behind him as if the world outside was too dangerous for her fragile state. Servants moved like shadows through the halls, their presence a reminder that she was never alone, yet always lonely. And the walls whispered. At first, it was nothing more than the creak of the old wood shifting, the wind slipping through the cracks of the window panes. But as the days stretched into weeks, she began to see patterns within the golden filigree, faces that twisted and turned, eyes that watched. She traced them with her fingers, feeling the uneven texture beneath her touch. There was something trapped within the walls, something waiting to be set free. One night, as the house lay in silence, she pressed her ear to the wallpaper and listened. A voice. A breath. A whisper. "Let me out." Her heart pounded, but she did not move away. The next day, she told Henry about the voices, about the shifting figures in the walls. He smiled, that careful smile of his, the one that made her feel like a child, like a thing to be corrected. "My love, you need more rest. No more books. No more writing. It only agitates you." Agitates. A word meant to make her feel ashamed of her own thoughts. That night, the whispers grew stronger. Eleanor ran her fingers along the seams of the wallpaper, pressing against its fragile edges. The faces moved beneath her touch, shifting, struggling. "We are here. You are not alone." She understood then. The walls were not simply whispering. They were remembering. They held the voices of women before her, women who had been told to sit still, to stay quiet, to be content with the world as it was. Women who had fought against the silence only to be swallowed by it. Eleanor would not be one of them. She tore at the wallpaper, her fingers pulling at the delicate patterns, ripping away the golden vines that had trapped the voices for so long. The walls groaned, as if exhaling centuries of forgotten stories. The door creaked open behind her. Henry stood there, his face a portrait of shock and anger. "What have you done?" His voice was sharp, cutting through the stillness like a blade. Eleanor turned to face him, her breath steady. "I let them out." For the first time, he looked afraid. She stepped past him, out of the room that had been her prison, down the grand staircase, through the door that had always been locked. The air outside was crisp, filled with the scent of rain and earth. The house stood silent behind her, its walls no longer whispering. And Eleanor walked forward, leaving behind the remnants of a life that had never been her own. As this tale fades into the quiet of the night, let its echoes remind you that no voice, no dream, no soul should ever be confined. This has been The Whispering Walls, a tale of strength and freedom, brought to you by Storytime, where every whispered story finds its way into the night. Close your eyes now, and drift into dreams of boundless possibility.
Thanks for your time. Please subscribe. Don't forget to press the bell icon for more.